get right. Let's 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 get right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title, fam. All week. Let's get into this here.
I spoke to Arizona Wilder in Los Angeles, and this is what she had to say.
Arizona, can we start at the beginning and can you tell us the story of what's happened in your life from the very start?
Okay, what I can tell you is that before I started looking into my life, back in 1989, I was starting to have flashes of things, and my life was not what it seemed to be, which is why I started looking into it. And what I found out was that I had a lot of missing time, and a whole lot of missing time, as to what had occurred in my life. And when I started looking into what had happened in my life, it was the only way that at the time that I knew, was to start going to see a therapist. Within a year, I was talking about memories of being sexually abused by my father, which was part of what was supposed to happen. And I was starting to talk about mind control issues. And I was talking about ritual abuse issues at the time. And I didn't have the whole thing put together. It's taken me years, all these years. It's taken approximately almost 10 years to put this together, what has happened to me. And in the process, I have lost everything that I ever had in my life, and anything I held dear in my life. I was bred for this role that I fulfill, and it was planned from before my birth, and it was because of the bloodline of my mother's family, which comes down through Ireland, but before that, it began in France. It was through the Marquis de Stac, which he came to Ireland and changed the name to Stack. And then I was chosen. And the birth was planned. My parents were forced to move down to this area for the reason that the High Council is down here, which is, there are 6 councils of 13 in this country, and the High Council is down here.
Which up in the United States?
The United States, yes. And so from the time that I was a baby, I was being abused and traumatized, and on purpose, for the mind control that they need someone to go through to do whatever they say, to be as just a puppet in that they can control every move. And you don't remember. I didn't remember a lot of things, because I have, as a result of all of this mind control, split off many parts that all hold memories, hold feelings, hold programs, hold information, and I've been working very hard to pull all of that up. And it's been a long, slow process for me because there don't seem to be a lot of people in the field that I only felt was the only way I could go was psychiatric and psychological. They don't seem to know what is really going on. And I believe that a lot of them are afraid of being sued should they suggest something. And so they cannot lead or suggest. And it's been a process of me having to trigger myself to remember and be around people that can help me with that can't really be touched by False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
So what happened? You say you were abused as a child as part of this compartmentalizing of your mind. What went on after that as you got older?
Well, they start with wanting to make you an obedient slave at first, and so they do a lot of sensory deprivation. They do a lot of sensory overload, and they switch between the two. And they do out and out torture. They take a small child and they electroshock. In my case, it was electroshock to the brain, and it would take away my chance to sleep. They kept me awake for many hours at night, would not let me sleep. And I was also told things as this was before the age of 5. I was told things such as they would make me drink water, and they would say, if you pass urine, you're going to have to drink it. And they would make me drink it. And if you have bowel movement, you're going to have to eat the feces, which is also what happened to me. And then they would play. There was a programmer that was programming me, a very infamous person in history who actually has been in this country, and he was known as Dr. Green. Who he actually was Dr. Mengele Joseph Mengele from the concentration camps in Germany, and he stayed a lot at China Lake Naval Weapons Station out here in Southern California, in the desert area. And I would be around this man a lot, and he used to tell me that the scar that he had on the left cheek of his face was actually from, he was into fencing, and that it was from that, but actually the scar on his cheek was from one of his own programming techniques, that he would put a child in a box and with a sword and tell the child to defend the box, even if it meant his own death. Then he'd tell another child to break into the box, and which this child would do, and then the other child would then jump out of the box and shove the sword or the lance straight through the other child. And at one point, he got into it where this child actually got him in the face with the sword. And he would wear a huge emerald ring on his left hand on this middle finger. And he would twist this emerald around and for programming, and he was into using long colored ribbons of different colors. And you had to choose a certain ribbon, or you were given a certain ribbon, and that meant that this certain thing was going to happen to you. And it was like picking sticks out, or drawing sticks out of a hand, out of someone's hand. I saw games of Russian roulette played where it was chosen beforehand that a child would die, and the child would put the gun up to his head and pull the trigger, and this child would end up dying. But it was meant to scare all of us, to keep us in terror, as there were many other children that were around me that went through the same thing. I have run into people from my childhood that have known me, and I've recognized their names. And even if they change their names and change their hair color, as I have done, they have recognized me, or I have recognized them, and I know their name. They know my name. There isn't any way for this to have happened. It's just beyond coincidence. And when you get older, I mean, they start taking, this programmer in particular, Mengele, would take me to rituals. I went to rituals with him all over this country and in Britain and in France and
Hold up. Let's get right. Make sure you understand what's going on here. You in here with your boy Dilla T, my fam. And this is No Filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and share this with the world. Become a member today. We're here to save your life. We're here to inform you to understand and be aware that if it walk like a, talk like a, damn it, it's a duck, and it's duck hunting season. Because we're going to call it like it is. Let me tell you what's going on right here. Like I said yesterday, all week we're going into situations about the times, the existence. The fact that the times we're living in now, we're living in a time where the good is looked at as bad and the bad is looked at as good. We're living in the times where there was a difference where we are human beings in these times and we were human beings all the time. But there was a time where other beings was living amongst us. That's right, other beings, meaning Nephilim. There were also other times of spiritual warfare, whereas too, our existence at a certain time played a role about reptilians, shapeshifters, things of that nature, right? So what we got in front of us today, and don't get me wrong, I might have pulled up a little later than normal, forgive me. But what we have here today, fam, is a lady that, like she said, she was working for these people, the elite. She's seen a lot, did a lot, was involved with a lot at an early young age. She states that she's involved with these things because of her bloodline. See, the difference, what I'm trying to get you to understand, fam, that even if your mother, father, great was involved with them people, I don't care who it is. If your great whoever was involved with them reptilian folk, that means we know you involved with them. And that's the seriousness today, because I wanted you to see this tape that this lady is talking about some things that only she could have only seen to know it's true. Let me say that again. This lady have to have been involved with some things to say what she's saying. And the manner, because if you listen to what she's saying, you can listen into the conviction in her voice. You can listen to how frightened she must have been as a young girl and how she is now today, because now it became her personality. So I just want you to listen to those things. But in the midst of what she's saying things that only somebody that know around being around reptilians, the way they dress, what they need, the way they go about things, everything in one day of a reptilian. And I think, to me, fam, now we got to be worried about these things, because these are reptilians, fam. Shapeshifters, people that can look like you and me and turn into a whole reptile in front of our face. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We about to tap in. Let's go right now. Let's go right now. Let's go right now.
It was known by intelligence agencies in this country that this man was here. They brought him here.
Is that Project Paperclip you're talking about?
Yeah, through the OSS. And my family, or my so-called family, are all DID. They have not. They are very well programmed, and they have not sought help. They have not gone in, tried to figure out what's happened. They believe they've had this certain kind of life that they've had, and as far as they are concerned, I am crazy. And they have much different memories of what I have, and I was always told certain things by my parents that my sisters were never told. And biologically, I have to add at this point that my mother is my mother. I am not biologically related to my father. And this has to do with the bloodlines, and his was considered impure. And this is all about purity of the bloodline. And that is why I am involved in this. There are people that are involved in this that it is not so much because of bloodline that they have the ability to dissociate and be used as slaves by these people.
You say that you come from a certain bloodline, and there is this obsession with bloodlines that this Brotherhood Illuminati have. Why is that? Because
what first started coming out was about the Aryans, and the purity of the blood. And what it's all about is that the blood and the menstrual blood contains something that is important for the propagation of this race that is controlling things on this planet. And these people that are in the organization that the Council of 13 is under, and they have something called the Grand Druid Council, or the Octagon, they're called the Illuminati. And the Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and in England. And they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians. And they need the blood. The blood helps them.
Man, hold up. Because she's talking all that. Yeah, I'm just here because I've been here, and here is there, and there is here, because everything is just everywhere. Even when you're here, you're there. And even when you're there, you're here. It's just what goes with it, because that's what's going on, even if you wasn't there with it when it happened, because it happened when it's going on. So and I'm like, hold up, fam. You just said. She like, yeah, I still can't even do, whatever, because the way it's going on and whatever. And then she say, yeah, because, you know, they reptilians. You know, they take reptilian shape. That ain't getting past my ears. You stupid. That ain't jumping past my ears, fam. What you on? Nene Love, Savvy TV in the building. Mama K in the building. Real life, that just happened for real. That's out of nowhere. Like, didn't happen. You hear me? But I know you didn't think I missed what she just said. That woman just said that easy. And see, I believe her. Because again, if you listen to what she's saying some serious stuff, fam, that's letting you further know how serious she is about it. You hear me? Let's go.
Maintain their reptilian shape, and it helps them maintain their sanity, and it helps them to live in this world because they are not from this world.
Does that relate to what the Nazis call vril power and what the Hindus call the serpent power in the blood?
Yes, the blood has something. It has something in it. It has secretions from the pituitary gland and from pineal gland, and it has a very strong drug in it that they also. I mean, this is the one that keeps them from going crazy, and it's like heroin or like endorphins, and it's much stronger. But what they need is, for it to be secreted in the blood, is they need terrorization of their victims before they are killed for their blood, or if a young woman is beginning to menstruate, they need the menstrual blood, and they have to terrorize them to get this to come out in the blood and be secreted in the blood.
Is this the what other people have told me about, that at the point of great terror, like the point of sacrifice, there's an adrenaline that enters the bloodstream? Is this what they're looking for?
Yes, that and this other element comes and secretes out through the blood. This all comes out through the blood at that time, and it's at that point they are actually staring into the eyes of the head of at some of these rituals, or at a reptilian. They are staring into the eyes of this person. Wow. And they're held. It's a hypnotic gaze these reptilians have, and it holds the victim in an absolute trance, in a trance of terror, and then they are killed at that moment as they are staring into their eyes. And not only do they can't hold their shape when this happens. The human shape they cannot hold. They go back into reptilian shape as this is happening, because it's like an animalistic type of excitement of the kill.
Wow.
And they
press one if you believe her. Let's get right now. I know I'm tired, but I don't care about none of that. We are here with your boy Dealatofficial, my fam. This is No Filters. Press one if you believe her. She said it's an animalistic type of unaliving you on how they feast on you. It's so many things she done said that further let you know, man, she done been in the room with people shape-shifting right in front of her face. We're going to get to that too, because we're going to ask why, how, who. She's just saying they. Let's go.
Oftentimes they will just rip into the victim and eviscerate them and start eating the flesh of this person too. And the fat from the intestinal area is highly valued, as they use it on their skin. and they drink the blood, and the blood is highly sought after, and it goes according also to rank within these creatures, as to who gets what when. And their sacrifices have increased in the last, it started increasing in the early 80s. The amount that they were doing is increased. And they use a lot of druidic holidays to do this, but they have other days too. They've mixed all of these satanic and what are called satanic holidays and druidic holidays, and in order to have these rituals, which ritual seems to be important to them, but they also use it in order to drink this blood, or they seem to need more.
Have you any idea why it's increased since the 80s?
So there are changes going on in the earth. It seems they're not able to hold their shape like they once were able to. And people see them shapeshift more and more. And they need the blood to try and maintain it, to try and maintain their human form. I believe there's a time coming that because of what I've been told, when they are not going to bother having to hold that human shape as they had to before. And they want that time to come. It's almost upon us.
So when you're talking about the fact that the veil is lifting on these reptilians so that people can see them far more easily and far more often, does this relate in any way to the fact that there is this desire to bring in this rigid structure, including microchipping and many other things, across the year 2000, which has become known as the New World Order? Is that coming in because it is known that the people are going to see what the game is, and there has to be control of the people at that time?
Yes, it's very connected. I started talking about the New World Order back in 1990, and I was very psychologically and physically affected so much by what was coming out. I wasn't watching television. I was not aware that certain individuals in this country, George Bush, were talking about the New World Order. I was talking about it because that is what was coming out, and knowing that the first time that inside of myself that I'd heard it was in conjunction with the Nazis, and that came from Mengele.
Wow.
And
now you want to know who Mengele is. We got to look up who Mengele is, because she keeps saying this voice, this dude, this guy, this demon, this something. Mengele. We got to look that up and see who that is. Carry on.
I started realizing that there was something going on, and then it scared me. And I didn't really look into it for years, but I was being harassed constantly. I was being told. At one point, I had someone telling me that I was being, and who was ex-Army intelligence, ex-CIA, telling me that I was being monitored by the National Security Agency. And I didn't have the whole story then, so I did not totally understand why this was happening. But yet I was being followed by cars or vans that said G12, G14. And in this last year, which has really been very hard, I've been followed by G41 vans, and I had to find out what those were, and that is naval intelligence. But this whole thing is going towards around the year 2000. And when they are going to establish themselves openly as a new world order, and it's headed toward that. And that's what everything is being prepared to or prepared for. And I have actually I've got a sleeping program right now to return, because I've left, but to return for that time. And it's called End Times Programming and Janus Programming.
And Janus relates back to Nimrod of Babylon.
Yeah, there is a group that used to be in contact with me all the time. And they stopped trying simply because I didn't obey them. They would be in contact with me all the time. They're called Janus, which is also the two-headed Roman god of change. And their headquarters is in Brussels, Belgium, in the NATO building. And they are a group of psychiatrists and doctors who are into mind control. And they are one of the many groups involved with the Illuminati. And they would contact me and tell me, give me directions that I was to psychically kill this person or psychically injure this person or scare this person. They'd give me the location. And I started questioning this, and I had a contact who since has seemed to have disappeared because she couldn't get the funding. And I had called her about this group, and she's the one that...
Hold up. Sir Learn a Lot says, my screen is messed up. I'm watching from another device, but yes, do you remember Trump meeting with the 12 other family leaders? I don't, fam. And if you could just let me know when and how or where when this meeting was happening about them meeting. Because when I started heard about the 13 family, I was like, wow. But what she is constantly conversating about is her whole breakdown of having to work for these 13 families and how she had to do it because, again, her bloodline. She woke up, she was born in it. She didn't ask for it. She was born in it, fam. So that's why we're talking about this tonight, because she is really showing and telling you exactly what's up and how these people shape shift, why they shift, the way they shift, them being here, what they really need, what's important to them, what's not, all of that. Like, come on, man. You can make this up, but you got to look at the person telling you the story, man. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go, man.
the ex-CIA, ex-Army intelligence person, and she knew about these people, and she said, yes, you're right. This is what is going on.
Your experience being brought up in this Illuminati environment, were you ever told anything about where these reptilians came from and what is the history of it all?
I was made to learn through Mothers of Darkness, which is a certain aspect of the organization, because that was an early part of my training, the history of what was the Illuminati on this planet. And what I learned was that the Aryans originally were from Mars, and the Reptilians came to that planet they came from another place. They came to that planet. They came to rule because they wanted to mix, so they said, with that race. And but they became the overlords. And the Martians or Aryans were seeking to escape from it. They went to the moon and then were there attacked. And they then went to Earth and established culture here on Earth approximately 6,000 years ago. And at that point in time, they were doing well, and they were mixing with the indigenous population of this earth. They were getting along with, and then about 4,000 years ago, the Reptilians arrived here, and again began to take over. And they instilled themselves in different places underground in the earth, and also this one part of them, the ruling part, took over and became involved in the politics and in the religion, and started controlling through these means at that point in time, and using the gods and deities that were believed in on this planet, started infiltrating into that and becoming that. And things started, blood rituals started happening. And since that time, that is the way that it has been. And presently, they claim to come from the Merovingian bloodline. They are all of there are 13 bloodlines in Europe that all of what are called royalty are developed from or come from. And they include the Aryans in this, and there's been a big push in this century. If, for example, when Nazis came into power, the fascists, talking about the purity of being pure and staying, the Aryan bloodline staying pure, and what it actually is all about is keeping the blue-eyed, blonde or light red-haired people, the bloodlines pure, because it is more powerful. And what is in that blood for these reptilians is more powerful, and they need that. And when you start mixing it with people that were indigenous to this earth, then it is not as powerful. It has nothing to do with someone's skin color or nationality. It has to do with keeping the bloodline pure for their use.
So blonde-haired, blue-eyed people are the purest from the reptilians' point of view, and that they want to keep that bloodline pure because of how they need to use it.
Yes. When I realized that it had to do with blonde hair and blue eyes, I could not do anything about my eyes, and I am not able to wear contacts, or I would have brown eyes. But one thing I did do was cut my hair off, because that was part of the rank I was. My hair was down to my knees, and I colored my hair darker. And there were times when after I did cut it off, they had gotten to me, and so the hair would be light red. But that is being in compliance with them. And I did not want to be in compliance to them. I want to expose them, and this is part of it. And I won't be what they want me to be.
When you look at some of the ancient accounts, like the Sumerian texts and many other accounts, they talk about the gods interbreeding with humanity. Is this relevant to the reptilian way of infiltrating the human race?
Yes, it is, because human beings all through the ages have accepted God's interbreeding or being accepted as humans, and that shows in Christianity, it shows in Judaism. It also, they have used Egyptology or the Egyptian religions a lot, and the present head of the Illuminati compares himself a lot with the Egyptian god.
I'll tell you something, I had to go in tonight because one Monday I wasn't here, but I wasn't finna lie. I can't just not be here on a week like twice like that. So much as I'm falling out, I still wanted you to know, because this part one of this series of this lady that her bloodline put her in a situation, fam, to where she had to really force herself to be a part of this, and she became a slave. Slave for the 13 families bloodline that had to find themselves here on the earth. And we start talking about reptilians and reptiles, we start going to other videos as well. But the biggest deal is that this is somebody that really go there. And again, we talking about existence, the times we living in. And we weren't living in no times where reptilians was like full, all body walking around reptile. We living in a time where now they looking like us and then they changing into themselves. That ain't almost real. But then again, it is real. Because she telling you about it. So you can't almost think that, but the best thing you can believe is that I'm definitely going to be pulling up regardless. Again, I know the time is behind me. Forgive me for that, but I was going to pull up to lay some eyes on fam and know that we up in here. Forgive me for falling out too. But regardless, we still here. We still in the building. As always, fam, I'm here, you here, we here. You know what it is, man. Real quick and real simple. Part one of this series right here with this lady with the 13 families and the bloodline is already down and in the books. Part two coming up. Be ready Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. with your boy Dilla T. Making sure you coming in when you do, man. Making sure you double tap that screen, hit that like button. Making sure that you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, make sure you're comfortable. Truly make sure you get you something to eat, something to smoke, and something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you see the title, fam. You in here with your boy Dilla T, my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Y'all be safe. Lock your doors. God bless, fam.